What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel. Today on the Hard Count, we asked and you delivered, discussing your hot takes next. Welcome into CFB with JD, the People's Channel. Everything that you know and that you love about college football happens here on a nearly daily basis. Armstrong Sims, Jack McKenzie, doing the real heavy lifting. Help drive the show at my Twitter page, at JD Piquel. And if you are not following on Twitter, then I would say you have missed out. I don't think that's a stretch to say that you have missed out, because this entire video is talking about the hot takes that you sent our way. I tweeted it out. I said, send us your boldest, hottest takes for 2022. And I was telling Armstrong and Jack before we started filming this, if we did this segment 4 or 5 months ago, we probably get 3 or 4 responses. But you all have come in extremely clutch. You have answered the call to action in an emphatic way, followed on Twitter, helped drive the show, and gave us 45 responses and counting. And for that, we thank you. This makes us a lot of fun. And again, this is a show that you drive and a show that I'm privileged to sit behind the mic, and Armstrong Sims and Jack McKenzie make the magic happen. But without further ado, let's get into some of your hot takes, because there was a lot of good ones, and there was a lot that I thought were more hot than, well, I'll say it again. We asked for a hot take and you delivered, so we're going to get into it from there. Brick Nooner 67, who was one of the equipment managers when I was at Cornell, is a phenomenal guy, is one of the reasons why we have this Cornell helmet over my right shoulder. I'm not really sure based on this camera angle, but we have Cornell equipment because of him, so thank you so much, Nick and Greg Lyons. But Nick says there will be no Big 12 or ACC teams in the college football playoff for the second year in a row. My heat level on this is muy caliente. Okay, it's a little bit spicy for me, Nick. There's a lot of question marks in both conferences, and while that could breed more parity, I think that opens the door for one of the big daddies to step up and run the table. Some of the sleeping giants, we don't know about Clemson. We haven't seen a ton of things to make us feel confident about them. But in a year where they were supposedly down, they still won 10 games. Have a second year for either DJ Uiagalelei or Cade Klubnik to step in and have a fresh face, a fresh take on the offense. That could be huge. 2 new coordinators, so we'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised if they stepped up and they ran the table. But also in that same conference, Miami. They've been trending upwards in the recruiting standpoint. They have their guy playing quarterback. I think they have both really capable coordinators on both sides of the ball, and Kevin Steele and Josh Gaddis. So I'm excited for Miami. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami picks up the torch that Clemson was carrying for a while. They say, give me that, and they find a way to make it into the playoff. Again, all you got to do is have one loss and win the conference. That's all you got to do. Based on previous history, you are one-loss conference champion in the Power 5. You probably have a shot, or a more than reasonable shot, to be in the playoff. In terms of the Big 12, I would honestly put my money on the Big 12 having a team. Now, the obvious situation here is they cannibalize each other and they just end up having a 2-loss conference champ like they did a season ago. But I'm looking really closely at Oklahoma, looking really closely at Baylor. Baylor is going to be a force in a different sense this year. Blake Shapen was announced to be the starting quarterback, was the guy, if you remember correctly, came in the Big 12 title, absolutely threw darts, hurt his shoulder, still threw darts, and led the Bears to a victory. So they're going to be a little bit more vertical in how they attack defenses, still ground and pound, but have that aerial assault effect. I'm excited to watch the Bears if they can replace some of the guys they lost on defense. Oklahoma's a big question mark. I am probably the leader of the Dylan Gabriel fan club right now. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. We broke down his film on this channel. Go check that out. But I think him under Jeff Lebby in this new offense, with Brent Venables' edge for the defense, puts them in great position to potentially be a one-loss conference champion. Dare I say, undefeated conference champion. We're going to see what happens. Texas is a team that you have to mention because of all the potential and all the things they did in the transfer portal. I'd be surprised if Texas won the conference with 1 loss. But those 4, Clemson, Miami, Baylor, Oklahoma, those 4 in their respective conferences, teams that I'm watching like an eagle to see if they can potentially win the conference with 1 loss. I think that they're going to end up being one of those teams that makes the college football playoff. So, Nick, for your take, I would say muy caliente, but thanks for playing. I really appreciate you tuning in and for adding to the show. RJ Hookem90 says Spencer Rattler has a better season statistically then Caleb Williams. Hashtag stirring the pot. And RJ, to this I say, that is Blazing Wings Challenge hot. I love the hashtag. I love where you're going with this. For anyone confused as to why this is stirring the pot, both of these quarterbacks, this time a season ago, were at Oklahoma. Spencer Rattler was perceived to be the number one overall pick in the draft. Caleb Williams comes in, makes absolute noise. I mean, that seems like even a poor way to put it. Absolutely takes the CFB landscape by storm, is the hottest thing since sliced bread. And then they both part ways for respective reasons. One goes to South Carolina and Spencer Rattler. Caleb Williams goes to the other USC, or the real USC, with Lincoln Riley. But I say Blazing Wings Challenge because I think Williams has more built out around him and more things around him to allow him to be better statistically. First of which being the competition. No knock on the Pac-12, but they're just not going to be the same defense you're seeing week in and week out if you're Spencer Rattler playing in the SEC. Also, for Caleb Williams, he's playing in the same offense he was in a season ago. Spencer Rattler had to learn it in the spring. I think he'll be able to pick it up, but he's not going to be playing in quite as wide open a system or as privy likely to the system that Williams is right now at USC. Probably just a couple steps ahead in that regard. I think they're going to rely a little bit on the run game as well at South Carolina, probably more pro style. That's my own 2 cents on it. I think Williams will have a better year statistically, but I love the stirring the pot, and this is something I think we should watch the rest of the season as well. Our guy, friend of the program, at Tuxedo Yoda, sharpest dressed in the galaxy, he says this will be the last season that Sark is at Texas. And my heat level grade on this is solar flare. So piping hot. If you get too close to it, you will evaporate. There's a new quarterback in Quinn Ewers, likely Quinn Ewers, so that probably buys him some time in general. Also, think about the mess that Sark inherited. They went 5-7 a year ago. Some of that was due to what they didn't have on the field. Some of that was due to what they had in the locker room. I think more so the latter than the former. They're revamping that culture. They're getting more talented guys in place on offense. You're going to have a first-year quarterback. There's a lot that I think the administration is going to be patient with Sark. Now, if they go 5-7, I don't anticipate that happening. If they were to go 5-7, maybe it's a different conversation. But if you can tell by the way that I'm talking about this, I feel very strongly they will be better than 5-7. I think they could have rolled the ball out yesterday with the same team and be able to go better than 5-7. A lot of that rides on Quinn Ewers, but you catch my drift. Also, what they've done on the recruiting trail. Sark's still getting his guys into Austin. And if you watched our video we did yesterday, we feel pretty good that Arch Manning could end up in the Bird Orange next year. That's something to look at, something to watch. So I don't think that you cut the cord yet on Steve Sarkisian. It's just way too soon. So solar flare for you, Tuxedo Yoda. But again, appreciate you adding to the conversation. This is one that I just couldn't resist adding on to. This is one that I couldn't resist grabbing it because it's something that we have kept a pulse on with this program, this take. And our grade is going to be a little bit harsh in terms of heat level, but we'll explain a little bit more as to why that is. At West Texas Best Texas says Texas Tech will be in the Big 12 championship game. Now, again, these are takes for 2022. So for this season, I'm going to grade this as ghost pepper hot. Very, very hot. Got to sign a waiver before you try and digest this take. But I think if you were to tell me Texas Tech will be in the Big 12 championship game within the next 3 years, I would put this as a Buffalo. More digestible, very delicious to some people's palate. I think it's probably the preferred level of heat. But I don't think that they will be in the Big 12 championship game in his first season. I say Joey McGuire's first season at the helm for Texas Tech. He's still getting his guys there. They're going to be good. They're going to make a bowl game. They're going to make some noise. They're going to ruin somebody's chances at a Big 12 title. But I don't know that you will see them in Jerry World this coming year. There's just so much that you still have to get right about your program as a first-year head coach. I don't think they're far off, but I think it's going to take a little bit more time to get to Jerry World. Again, if you switch it and say in 3 years, I'm all on board with this. I am buy Texas Tech in the next 3 years. If you're going to buy a stock in a team in a Power 5 conference to make some noise on the national level in the next 3 to 5 years, buy Texas Tech, buy Joey McGuire. That's just how we feel. So first of all, thank you so much for adding all your hot takes. Like I said, it's a blast to have this kind of interaction back and forth between our audience and put it on the show. That's what we live for. 45 plus of you, like I said, added in and made this a whole lot of fun to sift through and break down. We're going to keep doing this, so let us know in the comment section if you want to do more segments like this. Again, follow me on Twitter at JDPikel to contribute to these kind of conversations. We appreciate you. You make this show go. And again, Armstrong Sims, Jack McKenzie doing the real heavy lifting. I'm very privileged to be able to sit behind this mic and have this medium to interact with all of you. So thank you. That's it for us here on CFB with JD. This has been the Hard Count. We appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. Again, follow me on Twitter. We're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time.